Hello, my name is Dumediat, and in this video I want to be bringing you a puzzle called Nogradoku, which is by a setter whose name I'm told is pronounced Jodawo. Bremster had sent me a message earlier today asking if I was interested in solving another puzzle and recording a video for his channel. You may recall that several weeks ago I had recorded a solve of Bremster's puzzle Competitive Tetris that was featured on his channel, and he sent me the link to this puzzle, and once I opened it and saw Nonogram, I jumped at the chance because this is one of my favorite variants for pencil puzzles. So this puzzle combines Sudoku and some other rules along with Nonograms. So I'm excited to bring this one and try to give this one a good solve for you. As you can see up here, there's quite a few rules, so I'm going to walk through. If you're not familiar with Nonogram, these are standard Nonogram rules, but I will walk through them for you. But first, we have normal Sudoku rules. So every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. We have the digits 1 to 9 once each with no repeats. And then nonogram rules. So these numbers in the blue cells above and to the left of the Sudoku grid are nonogram clues. And what these show are the consecutive runs of unshaded cells in the rows and columns that are indicated. So if we take a look at this 2 and 4 in this column, that means that somewhere in this column we have a consecutive run of 2 unshaded cells and then another consecutive run of 4 unshaded cells. And one of the rules is that each of these runs has to be separated by at least one shaded cell. So if we use gray for shaded, in this case, we would have this run of 2 plus this run of 4 to satisfy the clues. And that means that all of the remaining cells in the column will be shaded. And the same is true for the rows here. So if this 3 and the 4, there would be maybe 3 over here, and then 4 in a row here separated by these gray cells. And those would be valid ways to fill those clues. What we can't have is 2 and then 4 touching each other because there's no shaded cell in between those. So hopefully that's clear. The other extra rule here that's not always standard are these question marks. So these are just saying it's an unknown number from 1 to 9. It's not going to be a 0, and it's not going to be a double-digit number, obviously, because that would break the Sudoku grid. The clues that we have to the right and underneath the Sudoku grid are a little bit interesting, too. These are sort of like sum clues, but they're only summing the shaded cells in that row or column. So if we take a look at this 6th clue, for example, if we had, let's say, these two cells are shaded and then we had unshaded cells in between, that means that these two cells here would need to sum to 6. So they could be 2 and 4, for example. And that would satisfy these clues. Now the red clues are a little bit special because they have a second rule attached to them in that when you read the numbers in the shaded cells in reading order, so left to right and top to bottom, they have to read as a prime number. But the digits themselves also have to sum to the clue 17 in this row. So if we took this 5 example, let's say we have 2 shaded cells here and then the rest are unshaded. That means that these 2 cells have to sum to 5 still, like normal. But we couldn't, for example, put a 1 and a 4 here because this 14, as this is reading, is not a prime number. So we would have to make these two also read as a prime number. One example here would be 2 and 3, 23 is a prime number. And the other thing is there's a negative constraint on these red clues. So if a clue is not red, that means that the digits that are read in reading order left to right or top to bottom, when they sum to 11, they cannot be a prime number. So if we took this 11 example here, and let's say we have these 2 cells as being shaded, and the rest are unshaded, that means that, for example, if we wanted to sum to 11, we couldn't use 83, which is a prime number, because this is not a red clue. So there is a negative constraint there that I'm sure will come into play at some point during the solve. Now the last rule that we have in this puzzle is this little green X at the bottom. And what this is it's still the same sum. So if we have whatever that sum is, we don't know what it is, but it will be the sum of all of the digits that are unshaded cells in that column. But it also is a sandwich clue. So it is showing the total sum of the digits between the 1 and the 9 in that. So let's let's just use an example here. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to come up with a good one, but if we have, again, this setup and we had, I don't know, a 3 and a 5, so that's saying that this clue here is an 8 for the normal rows that we had with the sums of the shaded cells in the column. But we then also would have to have digits between the 1 and the 9 in that column be an 8. So we could have this, for example, where this is 8 both for these shaded cells and it's an 8 for the sandwich sum of 8. Hopefully that's all clear. I'm sure I'll forget one or more of these rules as we go, so hopefully I can keep these all in mind. But without further ado, I'm excited to take a shot at this puzzle. So let's see what Jodawo has in store for us. I'm going to reset the timer here. I did take a look at this on Logic Masters Germany. It was posted, it looks like about 2 years ago, and it's got a 3-star difficulty rating, which take or leave whatever you think of LMD ratings, but hopefully we get a good challenge here. So I'm going to start with nonogram clues here because that's what I'm most familiar with. If we think about this, we're going to have 9, a possible sum of 9 here in these clues. So if we have 2 digits in a nonogram puzzle, that means that there's going to be at least one shaded cell in between the 2 and the 4. So we already have a minimum of 7 here that we have to account for. Now if we push this 2 and the 4 all the way to the top and make these 2 unshaded, then make this shaded, and then make these 4 our run of unshaded cells, you see we're going to touch this cell and this cell. And I'll just color these in for now as one color. But then if we go from the bottom, count 1, 2, 3, 4 from the bottom, you see these 2 are going to overlap. But then if we leave this unshaded, these top aren't going to overlap. But we can see even if we use these 2 extreme examples, this cell is always going, these 2 cells are always going to be in our unshaded area. So if I delete all this, we see that these 2 are going to overlap. So those are always going to be unshaded. And we can't do the same quite up here because if we push these down, there's this whole area up here that we can fit 2 into, and so there's no overlap up at the top, but at least we get this. We also know that the question marks are at least 1, so this clue actually here in this column, column 8 is going to be forced. So we know we have 5, then we're going to have a shaded cell in between, at least 1, and then another unshaded for the second question mark, and then we're going to have at least 1. So we actually know the composition of this column. So we've got 5, this question mark is a 1. If we want to mark that, we can, and this question mark is a 1. So we've got that done. And as I go through, I'm actually going to mark that clue's done. We can probably do a similar thing over with this. We're going to have a 2, and then 2, and then at least 1, and at least 1. So that one's going to be forced as well from the nonogram rules. This one looks like it's going to be a little bit crowded here in column 7 too. So we've got 3, a blank, 2, and then a 1. Okay, so we're going to have 2 possible orientations in this column. It's going to be either these as the unshaded cells. We have 3, then 2, then 1. We could also have 2 in this case. We don't know if this is 1, but it's at least 1. Or we're going to have, if we move up a cell, we're going to have these 3, these 2, and then a 1 up here. So you can see where these overlap, where I have highlighted. We don't know about this one. This one's always going to be in, and then these 2 are always going to be in. So these are green, and I'll delete the rest of the blue here. Don't think we know any more about, yeah, this column is, if it's 1, 1, and then these 2. We don't know enough about that yet. Probably do something with this 3 and the 4 now that we have a shaded cell here. Let's take a look here. Yeah, this is forced, so the 3 goes here, followed by a shaded cell, and then the only way we can fit the 3 and the 4 in is if we do this. This 3, 2, 1 looks like it might be because we also have another shaded cell here too. So if we do 3 and a shaded, 2, and then we have a 1. So this one's forced as well. Okay, so we have 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and mark these if my pen works. Now this bottom we have 4, 2, and 1, which I think is going to be forced as well, a 4, 2, and a question mark. So if we start to the right of the clues that we know about, we have 2, and then a shaded cell, 4, and then this question mark is going to be a 1 as well. All right. So we're making some good progress here. Another small deduction I can see here is this question mark here means that there's only one consecutive set of unshaded cells in this row. And so we already have this green cell here, this unshaded cell. So we know that there's not going to be a second one in this cell here. Otherwise, there would have to be 2 clues in this row. So this is going to be shaded. Now, if we take a look at this column, we have the question mark and the 1. So we're going to have 2 runs of consecutive cells, or consecutive shaded cells. So the 1 is accounted for here. But we have these 2 separated, so we're going to have to connect these 2 to satisfy that single question mark above the 1. Okay, we don't know anything about these rows yet. So this column we have the 3 locked in at the bottom, our last clue here. And then we have our 2 locked in, and then we still need a question mark. That question mark is going to be a 1. Okay, looking at these rows, we know the first clue in this row is a 1, so we can put a shaded cell here, and same with this row, this first clue is a 1. We do a similar trick here with this question mark. We know there's only 1 consecutive run of unshaded cells, so we can fill those in. Here in this row 2, we have a 1, and then we need a run of 3 after the 1. So in these 4 cells, we need to have 3, so we can color these 2 unshaded because it's either going to be like this or it's like this. So these 2 are always going to be colored in. We can look back at this 2, 4 again, and we see we have 1 here, and then a set of 2 here, and then another 1. So we can't have 3 different consecutive runs. So this last one is going to be our 4. So this one is then shaded. And then this 2 is either going to go here or here. So this one is never going to be unshaded. That helps with our row 1. So this 3 at the end needs to take this. Again, we have only 1 question mark clue above this, and we have the 1 satisfied. So this is shaded. I'm sorry, unshaded. Okay, this question mark here, so we need these all to be connected as 1 consecutive run. This column, I don't think we know how these connect yet. We know there's eventually going to be only 2 consecutive runs, but we don't know if it's going to be like this whole one and then this at the bottom, or if these are going to connect this way. But in this column, we do know this bottom clue is a 2. So we can go ahead and unshade that. But we don't know the size of these yet in the question marks. I think that might be all we can get for the shaded cells for now, but I think now our clues to the right and underneath the Sudoku grid are going to help us out now. So let's take a look at these. Do we have any, let's take a look at this, some of these columns where we have the nonogram clues done, so we know exactly what our sums are going to be, how many digits are going to be in our sums. So this row is going to need to have these 3 summing to 12, and that, when you read the numbers down, these 3 numbers are not going to be prime because this is a yellow clue. It's not a red clue. But I don't think we know enough. There's plenty of ways to make 12 in 3 cells as far as the sum. Where else can we look? We've got a 14 at the bottom, and it's going to be prime. Maybe this is the place to start. So a prime number is never going, more than a two-digit number is never going to be prime and end in an even digit. So we know that this is going to be an odd digit. And the two ways to make 14 is going to be 5, 9, or 6, 8. So it's not going to be 6, 8 because there's no way to make a prime number, 68 or 86. So this is going to have to be 5, 9. And now this can't end in 5 either because any two-digit number ending in 5 is always going to be divisible by 5. So this is actually going to have to be 5 and 9 in this order. Oops, and let me turn my pencil mark checker off here. Okay, so we've got this 14 clue is done. Okay, this 16 here, so again, we don't think we know these are going to have, if we don't get any more shaded cells in this column, those will have to sum to 11, which is fine. There's still a few ways to do that. So this 12 clue, yeah, this is going to have to be, I thought I had made a mistake for a second, but these are just going to have to be 1 and 2 now, so that we get our sum of 12. I almost forgot how to do math, and this is a number I'm going to need a lot of it. So, and this cannot be a prime number. So I'm not super great at my prime numbers, 3-digit prime numbers. I may have to use a reference for this, but we have to make sure that this is does not end up being a prime number. So if we have, I'm actually just going to check this. So if we had 129, I think that's going to be divisible by 3, so it'd be 43. That would be okay. 219 looks like it might be also be, yeah, it would be also divisible by 3, so it would be 73. Yeah, so both of either way is going to be okay. So we're able to use our 1, 2 in any order in this case. Okay. So here's something else that I just saw. This 8 clue is going to be helpful. So in Sudoku, we can't have in any row or we can't make 8 in any more than 3 cells without being able to use repeat digits. So if we tried to add another shaded cell here, for example, we would need to somehow make these 4 cells add to 8, and that's not going to work. The minimum you could have is 10. So the rest of these are going to be shaded, unshaded, and these are going to be one of 2 combinations. So it's either going to be 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4. But we do know there's going to be a 1 somewhere in those 3 cells. I'm not going to mark that, but just keep that in mind. But we can mark this off as being finished. So this, something I missed earlier, but this question mark here, this all needs to be consecutive, so we need to take this cell. And some of these, like this one, there's 2 question marks, but this one can just be a singular one with this being connected or these 2 connect. There's still some possibilities there. We do know this last clue is a 2 though, so this is going to be shaded. Oh, and so now we do have this. We do know that this is 1 consecutive run, and then this will have to be another consecutive run. And that could also be found using this column. That was a gap here where we need 1 consecutive run of some length. Okay. Looking for other places where we could use some clues. I'm looking at this, for example, the 7th clue here in row 5. It could be this could either be a 5 or a 6, or if we have another shaded cell here, this could still be a 1, 2, 4 to make 7. The 16 clue now is interesting though here in row 2. So we've got, not sure we can use it yet, but we know there's going to have to be more than 2 shaded cells in this row now, because this is just 1 or 2, so we still need to come up with at least 14 or 15. And so we need to take it one of these 2 as a shaded cell. Not sure which one yet. We do know that these 2 sum to 11 using the 16 down here. That is never going to be a prime number because it ends in a 5. But there's still 3 different ways we could do that, so I'm not sure that's helpful yet. This 11. Wonder if this 5. One thing I hadn't considered when I looked at this 8 clue is that this has to be a prime number, a 3-digit prime number. So it can't end in 5, it can't end in an even number, and it has to be from 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4. So it's basically from the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it can't end in 2, 4, and 5. So this is a 1 or a 3. I'm going to have to look again at my prime numbers here. So the highest one it could be is 521 if we use 1, 2, and 5. And that is a prime number. So we can have 521, except it can't be 521 because there's a 5 in this box already. Okay, so if it's 400, that means we're using a 1 and a 3. So it's either 431 or 413. So 431 is a prime, 413 is not. So we could have 431. I mark that down. If we start with a 3, that means we need 3, 1, and 4. So that's either 341 or 341 would be the only option. That is not a prime number. So we can't start with a 3. If we start with a 2, that means we need 251 would be the only option because we couldn't use 215. 251 is prime, so that would work. So this would be 251. And then if we start with the 1, we have some options. So it can't be 125 or 152. It can't be 134, but it could be 143. But that's not a prime number. Okay. So this digit has to be a 1. And this is a 2 or a 4, and this is a 3 or a 5, based on that, the prime number math. Okay, and that's going to help us out with this 5 clue here. So this now has to be shaded so that we can get this sum to 5. And this has to be 4, and 41 is a prime number. So we're okay with this clue. Now we know that this column, or this row, that's shaded is sum to 5, so this has to be a 1. And now we've reached our sum, so this has to be unshaded. Okay, so the next clue we could look at is this 11 now. So this can't end in 5. That's nice. So we've got this interaction here with these prime numbers here, and these where this cannot end in 5. So actually this I could have looked at this before, but we can't use 2, 5, 1 here, so we're going to have 4, 3, 1, and then this will have to be 8, and 83 is a prime number. So we are good with that clue. And we've also got this one. All right, making some good progress with this. Can pencil mark some Sudoku here. Let's see what else we can look at. So we still need 12 here, but we don't know enough about that yet. Still don't know what this 7 clue is going to be. These two are going to sum to 11, but they could still be that. A few different ways to do that, and it's always going to be, it's never going to be a prime number because that's an even number. These sum to 10. I don't think we know what to do with that yet, or I don't know what to do with that yet. Okay, so this 6 up here is either going to be a single 6 or it's going to be 2 digits. I think it looks like either of those are possible though. Same thing with here. This could actually still be, it could be 1, 2, 3, or it could be a single 6 or some 2-digit sum adding to 6. Not exactly sure what I should be looking at. Do know there's a, again using Sudoku, there's a 1 down here. Not quite sure that helps us. The sandwich clue, it's not going to be helpful yet. We just know that this is not a 1 or a 9. Making sure I'm not forgetting a rule here as well. Anything else we could do with nonogram clues? I don't think so. So, wondering if somehow we need to combine a couple of these clues. Like I'm looking to see if there's some clues that intersect that are going to mess with our like low and high digits. I'm not seeing any interactions like that. So these sum to 11. They could be 2, 9, 4, 7, or 5, 6. These sum to 12, but that could be any combination. And again, they could have more than that. Um, 17, so if we made this 8, 9, that would work from a prime number standpoint. It just couldn't be 9, 8. Does that have to do with like 11 making that not a prime number? Is that an issue? So 29 is a prime number, so it can't be 2, 9. Could be 9, 2. It can't be could be 3, 8. But it can't be 8, 3, because 83 is prime. It can be 7, 4. But it can't be 47. And it could be 5, 6 in either direction, because both 56 and 65. Yeah, that doesn't seem to help a whole lot. We do know this 4 that these two sum to 10, so this can't be 5, and this can't be 6. Since these two sum to 10, this can't be a 6, or else this would be a 4. Double would be 6, 4, 4. So this can't be 6, and this can't be 5. Okay, so maybe there is some restriction here. So to sum to 10, we need 3, 7, or 1, 9 in this direction. Okay, so it is an interaction with these clues. So this 19, we still need these to sum to 11. So this can't be a 1, because then this will need to be a 10. So we can get rid of 1 here and 9 here. And once we get rid of 9 here, we can get rid of 2 here. So now we have a 3, 7 pair. And this will never be prime because it ends in a 4, so we're okay either way. Now, these need to sum to 11. There we go. So this can't be a 3 now, because this would need to be an 8 to have these sum to 19, but that would double the 8, so very nice. So we've got, yeah, these clues all interact with one another that's very surprising how that's restricted, but very cool. So that we got 7, and then we need a 4 here. Good with that clue. And then this needs to be a 3. And so then this needs to be an 8. And that, just double check this works. This sums to 13, exactly. So actually, we know that these all are unshaded. I like to put these, sometimes we're having to do these more difficult deductions, you get rewarded with a lot of progress here. That's very nice. Okay, so the 11's done, the 14, the 13 is done. Okay. Let's see what else we can find. Okay, so the 7 clue here. We said before it could either be 2 cells or it could be 3 cells, but now we can't use 1, 2, 4 because we would need the 4 to be in here, and then this 4 makes that impossible. So this actually has to be a 2-cell sum equal to 7, and then this can be unshaded. Now we need 2 different consecutive runs in this column, so we can't have an unshaded cell here. This would all be one big consecutive run, so that's shaded. And now in this row, we have these, again, 2 consecutive runs, so we can't make this one shaded, or that would break that up and make 3 different runs. So it's unshaded. And now in this row, we need the shaded cells to sum to 6, so we do that here with a single 6, and that also satisfies this column. So this can be unshaded. Very nice. Okay. Let's go back to what I was talking about with the 7 clues. So this is either 2, 5 or 6, 1, and it is not prime. So 61 is a prime number, so we can't use 6, 1. So this has to be 5 and 2. So that's done. And now that gives us, that gives us a 1 up here. Okay, so something else I see here, this 16 clue looking at with this 5. These have to sum to 11. They can't be 5, 6, or 3, 8. So these are either 2, 9 or 4, 7. Okay, here's another thing. So this 16 clue here, we know that only one of these cells is shaded and one is unshaded because we need 3 unshaded cells in a row in this row. So if this was a 2, for example, we would only be able to have one more shaded cell, and these would only sum to 3. So we would need an unshaded cell summing to 13, or a shaded cell summing to 13 here. So this is not a 2. So this is not a 9. And the same thing here. If this was a 4, you would need a shaded cell summing to 11 in one of these 2 spots. So we can get rid of some options there. A 7 and a 1 would need an 8, and it would have to go here because of this 8. And a 9 and a 1 would need a 6, and that could go in either spot. Okay. Okay, so now this 17 clue we can use because this can only be 2 or 4, so this has to be shaded so we can have enough of a sum. It's almost... Oh, that is cool. Oh, wait. Okay, I almost thought that was really... I was thinking 51. 51 won't work anyway. Let me explain what I'm thinking of. So if this is a 2-cell sum, we need it to sum to 6. It couldn't be 2, 4. So it would have to be either 1, 5, or this would have to be a 6 because of this one here. But 1, 5 is not prime. The digit cannot be prime, so 6 works, and then 15 works. So this is either a 6 or a 1. And if this is shaded, then this would be 1, 5. Can't quite eliminate that one yet, but we could maybe do a little bit of Sudoku here. It almost seems unnatural in this puzzle, but we do have Sudoku to do. It is a Sudoku puzzle after all. This column needs a 2 and a 4, and we already have that filled, so this is shaded. And then this is unshaded, so we've got the nonogram part finished, which is nice. So these are all these clues are done. I'll get rid of these because I know I don't have to look at them anymore. Okay, we can probably now look at this 16 clue. Oh, well, first let's look at the 6 clue, because now we know this is only 1 cell, so that's a 6. Looking at the 17, we need these last 2 cells to sum to 11. So this is either 4, 7 or 2, 9 using this cell. And then this row needs 2 cells summing to 15, because we already have 1. So this is, it can't be 7, 8 because of this 8. So this is 9. And this is 6. Okay, so now looking at this column, we have 14 already, so we need another 2. And we have 8 here, so this needs to be a 9. And 2, 6, 9, just doing my check, is a prime number, so we haven't broken the puzzle. And then 2, 9, 5 is not a prime number because it ends in 5. So these are done. Okay, so it looks like we've done all of the outside clues except for the sandwich clue. Now, okay, so we can use that right now, and this 9, 6, 5, so we have a sum of 20. So that means our sandwich sum also has to be 20. Now our 9's up here, and we already have this 6 and this 5. So there's no way we can put a 1 in either of these two cells, because then our sandwich sum would be, at most 14 if we, or actually at most 13 if we use 6, 7, and then 1. But we need to get to a sum of 20 here. So neither of these are 1. And we have a 1 in this box already here, so there's no 1 there. So we can place our 1 for the sandwich. And now we need a sum of 20 in here. So these two have to sum to 9. Can't be 1, 8. It can't be 3, 6. It can't be 4, 5. So these are 2, 7. Excellent. And so now we're actually done with all our outside clues. So at this point in the puzzle, we're down to Sudoku. Okay, so let's make sure I can do my Sudoku. These 3 cells are a triple. So these would be 3, 4, and 8. And we've got these 2 4s looking into the box. So that's a 3, 8 pair. That's a 4. And then this 3 looks over, making this 8 and 3. These 3 look over, and this 3 looks down. So we've got a 3 here and a 1 here. In this box, we've got 1s looking over and up. So we've got a 1 in one of these 2. So then in this box, we've got 1s looking at these cells, and then this one looks up. So our 1 is here. Okay, what else can we find? Get these 6s. So 6 will be in one of these 2. These 6s, and then one of these 3. These look weak. Got a lot of digits looking at these 2 cells. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, could be 5, 6, 7, could be 8, and then 9 here. So these are a triple 1, 4, 7. No 1 there. So then these are a triple 2, 6, and 9. 6 here, 2 here. Oops. Okay, I see 8's looking into this box. This 8 looks over, this 8 looks down. So this is an 8. And then 8 in this box is in these 2 cells. 8 down here is in one of these 2. There are 3s. Just checking here. This 2 can be up here. Fours. 4 can be in one of these 2 spots. Okay, so we've got 4 in one of these 3 cells, and then 4 in one of these 2. So the question to ask is, where can 4 go in row 1? Can't go in this box, can't go up here. So it's in one of these 3. It's not here, so we do get a 4 up there somewhere. 5 in box 4 is not in those cells, so it's in one of these 2. And we have this pair over here looking down too. Seven we don't know much about from a Sudoku standpoint. 8. Eight is in one of these 2 cells in this box because of this 8. And that rolls 8 out of this cell. So we've got 8 here. 8's over here. This one looks over. So this is an 8. This is a 4 using other pencil marks. This 8 looks over, making this 5. Oh, whoops. This 5 and this 8. That's a lot of red all of a sudden. We've got 3 and 7 left to place in the row. Okay, we've got this pattern left on 8s to resolve later. 9 in this box is over here. Okay, so what are we missing? 4s. Place this 4, and then we've got this 4 looking over here. So in this box, 4 goes here. And 4 in one of those 2 cells. Place this 5 as well. Do have a quad here. Need 3, 5, 6, 7. So 3 in this column. So this 3 looks over. That can't be 3. And 3 in this box. So the only place for 3 in this column is right here. And 3 up here. 3 in this box, and box 5 needs to go in one of these. So then that looks up at this 3, 7. That's some really nice Sudoku at the end of this puzzle, actually. The digits didn't completely fall apart once we filled out all these sum clues here. So there's actually a really nice Sudoku built into the end of this puzzle. So thank you, Jodawo, for doing that. This 7 gives us a 2 and a 7. This is 3, 4, 5. So this is 3 or 5. Might come in handy later. This box needs 2, 3, and 9. I do sometimes when I'm doing classic Sudoku, like to just fill in when there's only 2 candidates. So I will pencil mark a little bit. These are 2, 5, 6, and 9. That's a naked single. Interesting. So yeah, we still need 2, 5, 6, and 9 in this row, but we've got 2, 9, and 5 looking at this cell. So this is just a naked single 6 right here. I was just looking at sort of rows that have a lot of digits, and then you combine those with other columns sometimes that have opposite digits, and you can find these naked singles that way. So that gives us a 9 here, a 3 here, 2, 6. We're left with a 2, 9 pair in this box, and this has to be the 9 and the 2. 9, we've got 9, 9, and so this box has a 9. Let's rid of this. So this is our 9. Box 3. This 3 looks like making this 5. This is a 2, 6 pair. We don't know yet. This is a 5, 7, 9. We got 5 and 9 down here, so this is a 7. Here we have a 3, 4, which we know the order. There's no 4 here, so this is our 4 for the box. For the row, we need 5 and 6, which we don't know yet. We need 2 and 7 still for this box. This column, this is 5, 6, and 7. And the 7 is down here. This is not 6. There's a naked single in this row. Need a 5. Okay, so this row needs 1, 4, 6, 7. Oh, okay, so the other thing I could look at here, this 4 looks down, so that's not a 4. So these are 1, 6, and 7. This is not a 6, so we get a 1, 7 pair in the column. This is not a 1. So we've got this, we need a 2, 8, and 9. This sees a 2 and a 9, so there's an 8. This 7 also resolves. So this is a 3. Still need a 1 and a 5 over here, so 1 and 5. This 5 looks like making this a 6 and this a 5. This 6 looks down, making this 7 and this 6. This 7 looks like making this 2 and a 7. This 5 looks down, making this 7 and 6. This is a 2-5 pair, and this 5 resolves it. This 2 looks over, making this 6 and 2. This 5 makes this 9 and 5. Then we still need 7 and 9. The 7 looks down, 7, 9, and we need a 2 and an 8, and this 2 looks down, making this 8 and 2, and that's the correct solution to the puzzle. Just under 45 minutes. So really nice combination of rules for this one. Jodawo, I really loved the start with the nonogram, just being able to get about maybe 2/3 of that filled in. Combine that with the shaded sum clues here with the prime numbers. I'm not super strong with prime numbers, but I didn't feel like it was too difficult. If you're not comfortable with that, I suggest using a resource like I did, especially for the 3-digit ones. And then once we finished these off, we ended up with really nice classic Sudoku at the end of the puzzle. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment to let me know how you did, how you thought of this video, and we'll see you next time. And as Bremster always loves to say, good luck with your solving.